So Mick Mars says that if Motley Crue asks him, he'll work with them. He'll make music with them. And I think that that was always what Mick was about. You know, Mick had a wildly successful solo record, did very well on the charts, did very well with critics. I mean, you know, critics are hard to please, and they were happy with Mick's record. And what did Motley Crue do? I mean, same old, same old. Nothing new, nothing dangerous. And Mick's stuff was so good that he had the luxury of being picky. You know, I personally think that the stuff that he did with John Corabi, even though Mick says wasn't necessarily so great, I mean, he doesn't say it like that, but he basically just says it didn't meet his standard for his record. I do think it was probably really good. Because I only heard like a little clip that you guys heard from the studio that leaked out to the world. But I think that there's some baggage there. I think there's some issues there. I think that if he were to do something with John, that might piss Nikki off to the point where Mick would never be able to come back. Now, mind you, Nick is supposedly, you know, above all of this, but I don't believe it. And I said Nick, I meant Nikki. Nikki is very much has this gripe with John, and I don't think it's just because John, you know, said that his book was like a little bit colored, like a little bit embellished, a little bit, you know, beefed up, you know. I don't know. I think it's more than that. I think that, but I don't know what though. I don't know what, because you see like all the stuff from them, you know, in 92, 93, and 94, and they're just so like this, you know, or I guess like this would be more appropriate, whatever, apropos, is what could have happened? You know what I mean? I think honestly, and maybe John will see this, I don't know, I love John. I bought his book. I still haven't read it, but I bought his book. I'm going to read it. I'm going to like do a review. I think it's because John didn't need Motley as much as maybe Motley or Nikki thought that he did. Because he went out, struck a deal with Hollywood Records, you know, linked up with Bruce Kulick, Jamie Hunting, and Brent Fitz. They put out a phenomenal record. And then they did the Blue Room. And obviously this was the 90s. It wasn't going to sell big, but it sold big. The first one, I think, sold like about 70,000 units. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. And it wasn't like a major label. It was Hollywood Records. So it was like an Enigma or something like that, you know? The point is, though, is that they also made it sound really good live. It wasn't, you know, arena rock, but it was arena grade rock. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, that was like, they could have just broke off. They could have, let me put it to you this way. Union, in my opinion, had a far greater chance of breaking big than Brides of Destruction. And that is also something I think Nikki has trouble dealing with. I also think the Dead Daisies, you know, that's a thing. I think the fact that John was able to, you know, go from being a front man, you know, to being a rhythm guitar player for Rat, a contemporary of Motley Crue. For nearly a decade, I think he played with Rat for like 7 or 8 years. And he was a valued member. I mean, he played the rhythms, great voice, you know, could really help Steven or whoever was singing at the time with background vocals, or even take over the vocals himself. There was people that said that he should have been a replacement for Stephen Pearcy. He wouldn't do it because he's not that kind of guy, you know, and he's never been that desperate that he needs work that badly that he would do that. But he was in the conversation for it because that's how great of a singer he is. I'm not blowing smoke up his ass. He knows that he's a great singer, and you know that he's a great singer. But maybe, you know, Nikki wanted John to beg to not be like removed from Motley Crue in 95, 96, 96, whenever it was. Maybe it's because of Brides of Destruction. You know, John was an initial member and then he wasn't. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. I mean, there's just something there. And what a tangent I just went off on. But that's what it's important. It's an important tangent. Because I think that Mick leaving Motley, suing Motley, having a war of words with Motley, these are all fine. But then working with John might not be fine. Long term might not be fine. Because you know that Mick will be back in Motley. You know that Mick, he's already said it. He's open to writing with them. After they basically said that he was a decrepit old man that forgot how to play guitar and couldn't move and was basically useless. But he is willing to write songs with them again because he also took shots at them, like having their instruments all unplugged. and questioning their musicianship. You know what I mean? And saying that he carried the band. So Mick got in a lot of good shots, and the ultimate good shot that he got in was that his solo material was better than their material without him. So, you know, but at the same time, you know, nothing has been done that would prevent him from coming back. But you look at like Richie Kotzen and Poison, that guy ain't coming back, you know? And I'm not saying that this would be, that, you know, Mick working with John on released music would be the equivalent of, you know, Mick sleeping with one of those guys' wives or something. But I think ego is a big factor. 100% do I think it's a big factor. And I think that there's something between Nikki and John that nobody wants to get near, including Mick Mars on his own solo project. Because when Mick says the stuff wasn't that good, man, don't ever get into politics, Mick, because you're full of it. The music was that good, and it was probably better than some of the music that you did put out. But you didn't want to release it. That's what it was. You sat on it for 3 years, and then when you were releasing solo music or whatever, a solo project, then you said it wasn't good enough. You never said it wasn't good enough over the 3 years you were hiding it. But you said it when you had to, you know, you had to put up or shut up with regards to what made it to your solo record. So that just never sat well with me, that it wasn't good enough or it wasn't what I was looking for. It's just, look, you don't want to piss off Nikki is what it is. Come on. Let's say what it is. Because Nikki runs that band. You know, he runs it. You know, Kiss is Gene and Paul, a little bit more Paul. Nikki Sixx runs Motley Crue. He's the only member of Motley Crue that has never been absent. Name me even one show, or not one show, but name me one era where Motley Crue didn't have Nikki Sixx. Maybe I'm going to go out for a walk because you're not going to have an answer. See what I mean? So I think that working with John is probably no-go land for anybody that is a member of the Crue and ever hopes to work with them again. And not just that either. Like if his bandmates from 6 a.m. did something with John, they would be done. They would be over. You know what I mean? That's how bad I think it is. I think that it's not just for members of Motley or the Motley operation or that whole camp. I think it extends to like the world. I think anybody that works with John is going to be on Nikki Sixx's shit list. Now, if I'm mistaken, then you please let me know. But I think that John Corabi is on the shit list. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. He knows why. Nikki knows why. But I don't know why. Do you know why? Leave a comment down below, and thanks for watching.